We want privacy!
Hi, I'm Andy,
And I'm Roger,
and welcome to The Middle,
where we try to have thoughtful conversations
about awkward topics.
on our search to find the middle.
We're going to give you last week's news today.
It's a slogan we should put on a t-shirt.
Stop touching her!
I am tonight announcing my candidacy.
Taylor Swift. Look, my biggest issue with marriage is that I think that it's a fundamentally flawed institution that is built on the oppression of women.
I will not be lectured about sexism and misogyny.
Having truly rational conversations about controversial issues is risky these days.
Andy,
Roger, how you going?
yeah, not too bad. Feel like having a bit of a whinge today, like our good mate Harry.
Actually, we had a double banger released last Sunday. You can go back and listen to both of those episodes if you haven't already from last weekend. So instead, we're going to torture you by talking about Prince Harry.
Hey, our Prince Harry episodes do very well. Unfortunately, we know our base.
Women's Day.
So basically, Prince Harry, over the weekend, I suppose, has done an exclusive interview with the BBC, and I think maybe we should just play a little excerpt to come to grips with what he's feeling right now.
Well, Prince Harry has given an unexpected and explosive, very emotional interview exclusively to the BBC, where he reveals why he no longer speaks to his father, King Charles.
I would love reconciliation with my family. There's no point in continuing to fight anymore. As I said, life is precious. I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me because of this security stuff. But it would be nice to reconcile. As I learned through the First Nations throughout Canada, because of the Invictus Games, their goal in life was always truth and reconciliation. And I turned around to them in many conversations and I said, right, but reconciliation can't come without truth. Well, I've now found out the truth. I've shared some of it with you today. A lot of it exists out there, whether people choose to ignore it or not. So it would be nice to have that reconciliation part now. If they don't want that, that's entirely up to them. But it would be nice to reconcile.
Harry suggests that his security arrangements when he visits the UK were downgraded as punishment for leaving his royal role and moving his family to California.
I have had it described to me, once people knew about the facts, that this is an good old-fashioned establishment stitch-up, and that's what it feels like.
Buckingham Palace doesn't normally respond to what they see as personal matters within the family, but a palace spokesperson did issue a statement to CNN about the case that Harry was talking about. That spokesperson said all of these issues have been examined repeatedly and meticulously by the courts, with the same conclusion reached on each occasion.
All right, so Prince Harry comparing himself to the colonialised, repressed Indigenous populations of Africa.
He would know, because, Africa's his thing. Look, do you want to play good cop or bad cop on this one?
I don't know. It's the infamous goat track to play devil's advocate on this one, I think.
Yeah. I don't think I...
Can I just say at the outset, I'll let you go first, but Harry needs a new media manager, I think.
Oh, well, I assumed that after Meghan got a bit busy with her other projects that he would. Oh, Harry. I mean, I just think that maybe it's a case study of what arrested development does to an individual. I mean, it's just the track, talking about tracks is a hit, but you can't keep on playing it. I just think that you've got to grow up. You can't be so petulant. You can't. If you do not understand why you are the reason why reconciliation is not happening, and every next step that you decide to do is blab on air about one of the world's most private, infamously private families, I mean, surely he must understand what he's doing. I mean, has the guy never seen a therapist? I don't know.
Well, I can only think that he's very knowingly and consciously doing this. I mean, he has to know that this has to be like a fuck you, right? Like this can't be.
I don't think so.
Like he can't genuinely mean those words. Like
I think he does. I think it's like a child's mentality. He's like, I'm pleading to you. I'm being authentic. I'm airing it. I'm like, I want to reconcile.
Yeah, but so the context of this is he's just lost some court case about having like
Security,
state security, right? And it's like, well, I lost that case, so fuck you. I'm going to do this interview, and I don't think he cares. I don't think he doesn't actually want reconciliation. He's quite happy sticking the middle finger up to his brother and his dad, and he's super happy to do that. And that's why, the timing and I think just like, let's not kind of ignore, well, and it would be interesting to know what the cha-ching factor was, but like, he's clearly saying, hey, I'm open for business. I am going to talk shit now. And that's okay, because I'm living in America and it's capitalism.
He already wrote a book about all this stuff. Like, I mean, I just kind of think, okay, if you're saying it's just a true fuck you, grievance around the security, I just think it just, again, doubles down on my point that he's not seeing the big picture here. He's stuck in a child's mentality about this stuff. Whatever it is, the trauma of it all. I almost feel bad watching at this stage. You know what I mean? Like, I think, to your point, he needs a good media manager. And the problem with his position is that, even more so now that he's left the UK and he's in America, he's in the United States. Any media manager just sees him as an IV bag filled to the brim full of money, right? Like, how's he going to get good advice when he's just a cash cow now?
Like, Harry, just when you prance around in your Montecito mansion, when your wife carries on like with the most ridiculous of fucking honey that she...
It's jam, actually.
Oh, okay. Whatever. Like, this is like, Harry, I got to shake you out of your misconception about what's going on in the rest of the world. Most people in most countries that you're speaking to, the English-speaking world, they're worried about how much a loaf of bread costs, and they're worried about how they're going to get to work given fuel prices increasing. They're worrying about, are they going to have a job? They're worrying about cost of living. They're worrying about all of these things. They're not worrying about, like, you're in the higher order of self-actualization, that your prestige status as a former member of the royal family. Like, this is you're not winning anyone over. You're having the opposite effect of what now. Okay, so like, to the actual security question, like, his argument would be, oh, we'll actually need it for security. But like, you know what? There's many more people who are equally as famous as you that don't have or need the security arrangements that you're demanding the taxpayer in the UK fund. And can you just have a bit more respect for other people instead of yourself? That would be my position on it.
All right. And to take the other side of this.
No, there's no.
I mean, I'm going to try, okay, because it feels good for a little while, but you realize what you're dealing with, right? I think that deep breath. I think that Harry is genuine about some of this. He's genuinely confused about how it got this bad. I think he's someone who has a very complicated view of his own agency, right? I think that he still thinks that things are happening without him being in control, right? But then he doesn't understand why he's not getting what he wants or what he believes he should get. So he has this like complication around cause and effect in his world, right? And why he couldn't have it his way, right? Why he couldn't still serve as a royal. He's very under his terms, right? And I think that the Americanization and that influence has really clashed up against the institution that is the royal family. But I do think that a strategy from Charles and the royal family could be to smother this in kindness. Like, what would be the issue with that? Like, I mean, taxpayer money aside, what would be the downside for someone to be either advising Charles or Charles wanting to and being able to just smother this whole situation in saccharine kindness, right? Give him the detail, give him the invitations, go on publicly saying, we love you, but we can't do X, Y, and Z. But we love you, right? What's wrong with trying to get him out of this Arrested Development? He is still his son, right? Why can't they do that? I mean, they're still his grandkids over there across the pond. Like, wouldn't that be good PR for them, and wouldn't it be good for the soul of the royal family?
Oh, I think they operate under a very tight culture, and they always have. And I think that's part of the that's seen as like, this is how this institution survives. Like, when you go through a period of austerity as the royal family, you don't, and I don't even know how this decision gets made. I mean, it was before the courts, so I don't know like if it's actually a legal or administrative decision that's made, not a discretionary expenditure or decision. There might be some discretionary component to it, or it might hinge on some other discretionary decision that's been made. I don't have a clue how the decision actually gets made. But if you're not, I mean, presumably there's some, you know, and again, I don't know, but presumably there's some sort of thing where if you're not officially a working member of the royal family, you're not entitled to taxpayer protection. No. And that's the way it should be. And
okay. All right, I get that. And is taxpayer, is people's money at stake. I get that. But for example, would there be anything stopping, again, a symbolic show of Charles saying, hey, we know we can't give Harry this security detail because he's no longer a serving member, but when he flies into town, he can have mine, and I'll stay home that day, and there'll be a symbolic thing where my security detail will go and pick up his family and take them in and usher them in. Things like that, right? Where it's just this cock and bull story. I feel like it could be managed and it would be seen as kind of compassion, but still respect for the institutions. I feel like, why couldn't that happen?
I think this wound cuts deep on both sides. And I think...
But he's the father and Harry's the son. You know, he's the kid.
Yeah, but I also think that this family is very unique because it's not just a family, it's also an institution. And when you are talking about an institution, there needs to be... If you're not protecting these boundaries, then what are you? Then there is no institution. Like, this is a bit like, the Irish chapter of the Catholic Church saying, well, look, we're pretty against abortion, but what we'll do is we'll fly you to London so you can go and get one. If they don't stand for these sorts of rules and these sorts of principles, then what do they stand for? So that's how they'd be seeing it within the royal family, right? It would be like, no, you cross our boundaries, you fuck us over when we're not having it. And I think that's where they're at. And like, I think that's fair enough.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people support that. And like you said, Harry and Meghan have lost that PR war from what I can tell. But yeah, look, I think at the end of the day, he speaks the truth. It is sad. It is sad. You know, I think that I do feel for this idea that I was born a royal, I have kids, and now I feel kind of like I'm exiled and I can't bring my kids back.
But is that really the case? Like, can we just like flesh out for a moment a couple of things? Like,
well, I mean, our kids aren't, when we travel to London, our kids aren't at risk. So it's very hard, I think, for the average person to kind of...
But let me posit this question. They don't have state-sponsored security in the United States. They don't have the Secret Service in the United States protecting them. They live in the United States. The United States is a country where access to violent weapons, like, machine guns, assault rifles, are far more accessible than anywhere else in the world. And they live there, and there's no issues living there.
Well, I think that's part of
the UK.
That's part of his criticism that actually the third-party security details that you can privately commandeer are not allowed to carry firearms, I believe.
Yeah, but that's because it's not appropriate. It's not proportionate to the risks. Now, if there was a threat against, a credible threat against,
so what do they carry? Just slightly longer knives than the.
Well, I don't know exactly what they're allowed to have and not have, but like I think this notion that you can't have you can't come back to the UK now is completely rubbish. Like, I think if they want to come, they can come. I think it's a piss take to basically say that he's exiled now and he can't come back because of this.
Well, mentally exiled. What's disappointing though? Meghan and Harry live in America. They live on the West Coast. Why are we not seeing the emergence of a fast, slick, hotshot talking Jewish lawyer, or like talking on his behalf? Like, that's what I want to see. I want to see like the dignity of the royal family going up against like a J.R. Hollowitz, like turning phrase, getting all like aggressive on them. You know what I mean? Why don't they have that?
Don't they have that Scooby Doo guy?
I don't know what you're talking about.
No. So Omid Scooby, he's like their some reporter or something that's like a confidant to the Sussex. Did you see that thing like a couple of weeks ago where she was still using the Her Royal Highness tag for like she was giving a gift to her friends. Like they're so bad. What do you think their conversations are like behind closed doors? Like
when we actually recorded the Meghan and Harry episode, did we make a prediction about when they'd be in hot water? Like whether, because you said that they were already
pretty deep in hot water.
No, sorry. I mean, you mentioned that Meghan would chew them out, I think, and chew them up and spit them out, and they'd be separated after like 18 months or something.
I think they're surviving at the moment on that they're both like perceive themselves to be victims in their own movie, and that's binding them together. But the moment they either one of, and it could be Meghan could go, hey, actually, like, well, they got the kids too, so that's probably going to keep them together, but or maybe not.
Okay. Speaking about titles,
I don't think anyone in the world knows that Meghan Markle has eaten Jack in the Box and loves it.
It's so funny too that you keep saying Meghan Markle. You know I'm Sussex now. You have kids, and you go, no, I share my name with my children.
Yes.
And that feels so. I didn't know how meaningful it would be to me, but it just means so much to go, this is our family name, our little family name.
Well, now I know, and I love it.
That's the one thing she had to grab at with that example, not look, no, I'm just a normal person who eats that shit too. No, it's like, oh, no, I'm actually a Sussex.
Couldn't even let that moment pass, right? The guest was working so hard. What's the name of the Indian chick?
Mandy.
Yeah, Mandy was working like overtime to try to help this conversation along. But if a clip ever gave you Mean Girl energy, that's the one. But hey, I just think Harry. I think that there is a future though where William, maybe because he's younger, because he's more savvy, that maybe he makes a move in this space, right? Like, I think that the story is not closed on it. Is my view.
Nah, I think the opposite. I reckon Charles is he's mellowed with age. In fact, I think he was always pretty mellow, like much more mellow than his public persona would have people think he is. But he's actually quite mellow and probably would be like, he's my son, like, deep down, like, I'm getting older, like, what the fuck do I care about all this burden of being king and all this stuff. But I think he knows what's right from like an institution perspective, and he's following that line. But I think King William, he's got the he's got the energy to like really fuck him off, like, like he's got the energy for this to be
big brother energy, like
no, it should be like, and rightly so, like he should be like, William should be like, no, like, I'm here when you want to bend the knee. I'm your fucking king. You can do what the fuck I tell you. And if you want something from me, you're going to come groveling to me, not the other way around.
I'm a gracious God. Most kings want you to stand. I only wish for you to kneel.
First, rub my feet.
I mean, isn't that just the thing, though? Like brother relationships. You probably have this from having an older brother, right? Like growing up with an older brother always has that, they always, for a big part of your life growing up, they're stronger than you, they've got money than you, they know more than you, and they always, they can bully you, they can sit on you if they want. And then on top of all of that indignity, they go on to become the fucking king. Ain't that like?
But this isn't necessarily. See, they're
just a normal family, just like you and I.
Yeah, this isn't always like the dynamic, the way it plays, like, because there's this whole thing of like the best position in the royal family is to be the sibling of the monarch, like, because you have the like the royal lifestyle without.
Look at Prince Andrew, worked out pretty well for him.
Yeah, like and the even like Princess Margaret and all that, like she was a bit of a, as I understand, a bit of a what's the female version of a playboy, and playgirl, I don't know, and the and then you've obviously all of Charles's siblings as well. So yeah, like he should be living it up,
Golden, what can I say, Andy? What do they call it? Golden handcuffs.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for enduring and suffering through Harry.
I'm sure we'll hear from him again.
All right. Catch you later.